On the next Best of Taste, a cruise in the Adriatic to Dubrovnik on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia to experience a little of my family's heritage, and you won't want to miss this. On today's show, we're in Dubrovnik on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia, and I get a chance to show my son a little bit of our family heritage, so stay tuned.
Best of Taste, travels with John Sarich. Delicious recipes, outstanding wines, and unique lifestyles. With your host, Chef John Sarich.
Well, welcome to the show, or Dobro dan, as they say in Croatian. That means good day. And we're speaking Croatian because we're in the city of Dubrovnik on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia. And I've got my oldest son, Biagio, with us. We're taking a great cruise on the Seven Seas Mariner. And this gives us a chance to get back to our heritage a little bit, being in Croatia.
Let's check it out and take a look around.
Okay, let's go. They say the Dalmatian coast was inhabited as long ago as the Stone Age, so my heritage goes back pretty far. And some people think they can still see the resemblance. Actually, Dubrovnik was settled in the 7th century when it was still an island. Then it was known as Ragusa. The narrow channel between the island and the mainland was filled in by residents during the 13th century, and the reclaimed land took on the dimensions of the city as it remains today. It formally adopted the name Dubrovnik right after the First World War, when Croatia and its 7 neighboring republics were unified in an artificial alliance known as Yugoslavia. Being a port city on the Adriatic, and like so many other places in this part of the world, Dubrovnik has had a long succession of foreign rulers. There was the Byzantine Empire, the Carpathians, the Avars, and who doesn't remember the Avars, Charlemagne's rule in the 9th century, then the rise of the Venetian Republic in the 14th century. The signs of antiquity are everywhere, but despite all the conquering forces that came through here over the many centuries, the people of the Dalmatian coast have preserved their unique culture. Dubrovnik's perimeter wall is certainly its most famous landmark. Construction of the magnificent fortification began in the 12th century and continued for 500 years. It must have been built well because you can still walk the entire circumference of the wall today. It's about 6,500 feet long, 20 feet thick, and 80 feet high. Quite a formidable barrier, and with the 4 main gates, it provided an effective means of traffic control for the stream of merchants entering and leaving the great port city. Dubrovnik is sheltered from any harsh weather by the neighboring mountain range, and Mount Srd in particular, so the climate is mild for most of the year, making Dubrovnik and the Dalmatian coast a popular resort destination. The mild climate also makes this an ideal growing location for olive groves, orange plantations, vineyards, herb farms, flower fields, and produce of every kind. Even now, as a 21st century city, Dubrovnik protects an identity that has been proudly retained since the Stone Age. Well, I hope you enjoyed your tour of Dubrovnik, and a real important aspect to the Croatian culture is, of course, their food and wine. And when we're on location, we literally do go to markets and try to find what's fresh and local and seasonal and regional and all that. And on today's show, I'm going to try to put together some typically Croatian dishes, but first we've got to find the food.
Let's find it.
Let's go. Welcome back to Best of Taste as we enjoy our Radisson cruise ship tour of the golden cities of the Adriatic Sea. Today we're in Dubrovnik on the Dalmatian coast of Croatia. Well, Biagio found a great little shop to pick up some souvenirs, and he's going to join me here in a market right in the middle of downtown Dubrovnik. And as I mentioned, the food and the culture of Croatia is really important. And I look around here, I see a lot of things that reminds me of the foods that I grew up on. So we're going to see if we can find some ingredients to create some typically Croatian recipes. Just like everywhere else I go, and even when I'm at home, I always look for what's local, what's seasonal, and what's fresh. Those are the ingredients that make up great cuisine. Here at the local farmers market, right in the middle of the old town square, we found lots of familiar items and some that were not. These are great, the dried figs. The figs, they grow all over the place here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fala. I'm glad we found my favorite fruit, figs. And when I was a little kid, my grandfather grew these in his backyard. We tried to find some local fish for today's recipes, but because the sea had been pretty stormy lately, the fishing wasn't too good. But we did find these little local delicacies. These are great. It's nice little fresh grilled fish, so play with that when we get back on the ship, make a little dinner. All right, good. And here's something you don't see too often at home, purple broccoli. Can I get two, a bunch?
I usually sell 3 pieces for 10 kuna.
That's fine, 3, yeah. You speak very good English.
Thank you. And you don't speak very Croatian.
No, I know. Okay, so my Croatian was a little rusty. It's a good thing we had my good friend Leo with us. His Croatian was fine, and it should be. He lived here most of his life, and he was right there to show me the best way to select a local olive oil.
Taste.
Out of the bottle?
Yeah, just
Like that?
Yeah,
Like that?
yeah. You're now in Croatia. You're not anymore.
Wow.
Oh,
Oh,
Good.
it's sweet, yeah.
You wanna?
No. Out of the bottle. It didn't take us too long to get most of what we needed for tonight's recipes, so we had plenty of time to get everyone together for a typical Croatian-style lunch at a local cafe. There was Biagio, Leo, Leo's brother John, and his daughter and son-in-law. And even our cameraman, John Klein, got into the picture this time. We ordered this delicious zubats, and we asked the chef if they had another one uncooked so I could take it on board and create my own zubats recipe. So stay with us, because we'll be back in one of the galleys on board the Seven Seas Mariner, and I'll get started on a Dubrovnik-style potato salad and a zubats recipe I know you want to try at home. Don't go away. Welcome back to Best of Taste, and welcome back on board the Radisson cruise ship Seven Seas Mariner after our great day in Dubrovnik. Well, Dubrovnik is an absolutely beautiful city, and it's a great place to walk around, see the sights, and to shop. And we found some great things in a little market right in the square in downtown Dubrovnik. And, of course, the fish, being on the Adriatic, seafood's really important. And they've got a number of small little species of fish that are great to just individually grill. This is a really popular one here, but this one is really prized. This is zubats. And if you're going to do this at home, grilling a whole fish, you could probably use a snapper or a rockfish would work as well, too. In a little bit, I'll show you how we'll set that up and grill this Croatian style. But a couple other things we found, too. And I didn't realize this, is the bay leaf is so important. Sometimes you'll see bays, laurels just nailed up over the doors is kind of good luck. And then the dried figs strung together with fresh bay leaves. And it gives it a nice little flavor, and we're going to cook the bay leaf in with the fish as well, too. First thing I'm going to do, though, is put the marinade together for that fish. Well, it's not really a marinade. Mostly it's a baste. But we're going to do that. It's real simple. And that's one of the things about the Croatian cooking. It's not real difficult. It's very, very few ingredients. And they just highlight the natural flavor because, again, you're talking about all very, very fresh, very obviously seasonal ingredients. But those fishes came right off the boat this morning. So real fresh fish. So you don't need to do much to it. And this is garlic, lots of parsley, and some lemon. fair amount of lemon juice. There we go. And then that olive oil that I bought in the square, most interesting way of tasting olive oil right out of the bottle, but this is just great stuff. All along the Adriatic, of course, the countries that border it all grow olives and make their own olive oil. And this is some of just the sweetest, beautiful olive oil. It has just a little tiny bit of acidity, so it finishes really nice. Not real cloying, but very sweet. So olive oil, parsley, garlic, and a pinch of salt and pepper. That's all you need. So that's going to be for our fish. Oh, and the lemon juice. Don't forget the lemon juice. Like that. We just set that aside. You can make this up in advance. But that's going to really flavor up the fish beautifully. And then what I found, I love this stuff, this little broccolini. Well, I called it broccolini, but the farmer said, no, that's real Dalmatian broccoli. And look at purple flowered broccoli. Just beautiful stuff. We're going to cook that up in a second, too. But, you know, that lunch we had, I'm just kind of recreating what we were able to eat for lunch. And one of the things you see, too, is real simple salads. This is a potato salad. It's very, very easy to do. Got a cucumber. I'm just going to slice this up in little slices. And all the stuff we got at the market, too. Like so. Let me get my bowl over here. And then potatoes. And it's not, I like to do this just before dinner so the potatoes are still a little bit warm, but you got some turned potatoes. And that's about enough for that, I think. And our cucumber. And salads in Croatia, too, are used like salads are supposed to be. Like I was growing up, we always had the salad on the table during dinner, and you kind of use that as your palate cleaner. So you just help yourself to a little bit of salad in between the bites of the food, and it really does clean the palate real nicely. But so we got the cucumber. We're going to put some red onion in here. You could use white as well, but I think the red gives a nice color. Lots of onion. So, sprinkle that in there. And then, whoop, getting away from me. And then a tomato. So it's potato, tomato, cucumber, and onion. Just wedge them up. So, put that in there. And then, again, on the salad dressing, you know, I see so much of balsamic dressings. You see that all over the place. But a lot of times it's really nice to have a lighter style dressing. And this is the one that they use in Dubrovnik, what we had for lunch. Where'd my little bowl go? Oh, there it is. And I'm just going to whip up this little salad dressing because it's real simple to do too. But a little white wine vinegar. If you get a chance, I'm going to put more of my olive oil. First little olive oil. If you get a chance, look for white wine vinegar and look for one that's a fairly low acidity, like around 3% if you can find, or 3 degrees acidity. So it's almost kind of a sweet, let's get my right vinegar. There we are. No, that's my vino. There's my vinegar. A little bit of white wine vinegar, salt and pepper. You know what I'm going to do too, just because I want to? I'm going to break up a couple of bay leaves to throw in here. Just add a little bit of that bay flavor to the salad dressing. And, of course, some garlic. And that's it. It's just that oil, basically oil and vinegar, a little bit of bay broken up, and garlic and salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add some fresh chopped basil to that, too. I like basil with potatoes. I like basil with, obviously, tomatoes. But I'm just going to coarse chop this. Like so. There we go. So you got almost little ribbons, kind of, not quite a julienne. Toss that on there. And then you can dress the salad. And the salad, you can dress this a little bit ahead of time, too. So everything's all ready to go when the main course is ready. The fish, of course. Just drizzle that over the top of that. Very refreshing salad. So look for some white wine vinegar. You can probably look for champagne vinegar as well. White wine vinegar and champagne vinegar. Okay, that's our little salad. There. And then the broccolini. And this stuff, this little broccoli is so tender. You could blanch it if you can use regular broccoli at home. Get some salted water going, blanch it, and then give it a cold water bath. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just saute it right up with a little bit of olive oil. So there you go. Well, let me show you some. Oh, I did show you the figs. Been eating those since this morning, and they're great. So these are so tender, you might just want to clean a little bit of the thicker stalk off, but you don't need much. Another one you look for at home if you can't find would be rapini, the same thing. So you can use that as well. So get your saute pan real hot. And again, olive oil. Boy, that is hot. Whew. It's one hot stove on this ship. And then toss that in there. And it's almost like a stir fry. Whoop! That is a stir fry. Get off this. You don't want it quite that hot at home. There we go. Now, once you've just started a stir fry, obviously get it off the heat, and you can just take a cover. I'm using a frying pan, and just let that steam a little bit for a couple of minutes. They go like that. Doesn't take long to do that at all. And then I just mentioned about balsamic. I'm going to give a little shot of balsamic vinegar right into that, too. Like so. There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, while I start to get this fish ready for the grill, why don't you go out and have another look at a really absolutely beautiful city of Dubrovnik. We'll be right back.
Many people describe Dubrovnik as one of Europe's greatest outdoor museums. The medieval wall, the centuries of intact architecture, the monuments, and the cultural heritage all easily explain why Dubrovnik is on the UNESCO World Heritage List. In fact, the long, wide promenade just inside the Pile Gate of the ancient wall is ranked as one of Europe's most impressive historical squares. One of the highlights in the square is the Onofrios fountain. Built in the 15th century, it still functions the same way it did 6 centuries ago. It's easy to see why Dubrovnik is called one of the golden cities of the Adriatic.
Well, I wish I had at least one more week, if not longer, to spend in Dubrovnik. I just love that city. Well, we're back with our zubats, our fish here, and like I said, you can use snapper at home for this and have the fishmonger scale it, so you get that big, thick scales off of there. And then we're just going to score it a little bit so that we can get that parsley and garlic and lemon juice in here. So just a few slices through the... Boy, that's a beautiful fish. Jeez. On both sides. So... go. Oop, move his little fin. There we are. Perfect, just like that. And then I'm going to take the bay leaves. And when I was growing up, my grandmother had a great big, huge bay tree in her backyard. I guess they're bushes, but this thing was a tree, and so we're so used to having fresh bay in our food. But it really gives a nice flavor. So just stick some down in the fish cavity. 4 or 5 leaves. You don't have to tie this up, because that's not going to really be worried about falling out of there. And then what we'll do, take our parsley and garlic and lemon juice mixture, just kind of spread it over the fish, like this. And both sides. And then you can use this as a baste as well. So as the fish is cooking, you just kind of baste it every once in a while. Do this on a fairly low grill. You don't want your coals really, really hot for this, because this is a good-sized fish. It's going to take a little bit to cook. So once we cover that real well with that, then we go ahead and place them right on the grill. Like so. There we go. Whoa. Beautiful. Just let that cook until it's done. And really, it's hard to say how long it takes to cook a fish like this. But literally, when the meat starts to flake off, then you know it's really done. So anyway, try that at home. It's wonderful. And when we come back, something else is really important to the Croatian cuisine, and that's the wine. And I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So we'll see you in a minute.
Well, we're back on board the Seven Seas Mariner in port here. I want to thank Radisson Cruises for the opportunity for Biagio and I to be able to come back here and see a little bit of our heritage. And let's talk about wine. If you come to Dubrovnik, and you really should, you're going to want to drink the local wine. And we were drinking some Gražina Vina, and it has a very similar quality to Sauvignon Blanc. So when you're back home, look for my favorite, Chateau Saint Michel Horse Heaven Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc. Great wine to go with seafood, especially grilled fish like this. And simple preparation, and that's really the key to Croatian and Dalmatian coastal cooking, is simplicity. So all we did was just prep the fish up and had a little garlic, olive oil, parsley, and lemon juice, and that's your sauce. That's all you have to do. And have a little bit left over so you can put it on the fish when it's done, like that. And it really adds a nice flavor to it. And again, it just emphasizes the flavor, the fresh flavor of the fish. And then the salad was simple too. A white vinegar and olive oil salad dressing with some fresh basil and the freshness of tomatoes, a little cucumber and potatoes. You can throw in peppers in there too if you wanted as well. So, Biagio, what do you think of Dubrovnik?
It was amazing.
Amazing city.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And we've been eating all week. Might as well continue to do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a little bit more, and we'll see you on the next Best of Taste.
Yeah, I'll do that for you.